And then what about this term? I'm sure you've heard it too, NDD, nature deficiency disorder.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
part do you think this plays?
Such a big part.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, the emphasis on test scores and achievement, that's important, but not at the deficiency of just being outside, getting vitamin D, moving your body. I mean, that is so important. And having downtime from screens and all the alerts and the dings and all this stuff, right? We want kids to get bored. It's okay
Yeah.
to get bored.
Yep.
I mean, that's where creativity happens. So
You're notorious and good in a great way for giving prescriptions, writing prescriptions to your patients. Get outdoors, get into nature. And it's interesting because, I'm familiar with some literature from the Japanese studies anyways, and they refer to this loosely translated to forest bathing, but Shinrin Yoku, which is get out into nature. And there is this sort of element to, yes, being in nature where, I always fall back on evolutionary biology whenever I'm trying to make sense of stuff. And it makes sense. Where we come from, not city dwelling and not confined spaces and certainly not on the screens. But there is this biological element to it as well, which is negative ion exposure and upregulating serotonin, which I find is really interesting. And I kind of want to pull that sort of full circle back to what you said right at the top, which is prefrontal cortex evolving at an early age, and when it's not stimulated the right way and or not nutrified the right way, it doesn't evolve the right way, and predispositions precipitate like ADHD. But there is a genetic element to this as well, isn't there? When it comes to, genes relevant to dopamine or serotonin and or degradation of some of these neurotransmitters. Anything that is there a position statement, if you will, that you have on the genetic element to this? How much does this weigh in? Is the question, in your opinion?
It's important because I think when we get outside and we move, our brain can synthesize and use those natural hormones and chemicals that we make much more easily and readily. And, it is the basis of mindfulness, too, and intentionality that I think we need our kids to also have some
reflection time, awareness. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. Because again, we live in such a fast-paced world. We want our kids, especially the young ones, right? I can't tell you enough. I used to do positive parenting classes with parents, young kids, and a lot of times parents would come to me and say, "Oh my gosh, my toddler wants to play the same thing over and over, and oh my gosh, how many times do we have to do that?" But kids take time to process the world they live in, and it's through that repetition and that routine that really helps kids to really solidify and work through what's happening in their world, how cause and effect, right? And so the repetition is really helpful, but it can, you have to go at the child's pace, and be that appreciative audience of what that child is doing. Because I think if we don't stop to watch what they're doing and interact with them appropriately, again, that serve and return that's happening, that's helping support brain building, is so important in that early stage to help really bond and to help provide that safe space for kids so that they know that they can explore their environment. And really thrive.
Right. Yeah. And partly what I was trying to dig away at there was, and by the way, there's that, I'm going to tangent for a quick second because literally and figuratively digging in soil, in mud, is part and parcel to what evolves the microbiome. Eat dirt, right? Really. But what I was actually digging for was related to the genetic predisposition and to your point, and the way you answered it was brilliant, because some of us are more predisposed to need more nature exposure. Isn't that part of the solution for some of these children, is get more nature to supply this maybe overactive, hyperactive, I hate to say that, but excitable part of the prefrontal cortex, which just basically doesn't have enough dopamine sitting around for long enough. Right?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, historically, if you look, we didn't grow up in cities. We didn't grow up with industry. We grew up for thousands and thousands and tens of thousands of years in nature. So that's how our nervous system is essentially wired. As soon as we move from that into some other world and environment, then there's all of this stimulation. not just in terms visually, but, signals coming through the air, Wi-Fi everywhere, screen time. So the brain is being stimulated at a pace that I just really don't think it's used to historically, evolutionary-wise. So the more time, and especially in the younger years where a child can just sit in nature, there's a certain pulse, there's a certain rhythm that just happens sitting quietly, playing in nature, that sort of brings one back to where we should be. Then we have the sort of stamina and the wherewithal to go out into that environment and withstand all the stimulation that tends to push that frontal cortex.